prototypes and counterfeits making the list. Comic fam, let's get into it. Yet another week, another list on the phone, virtually broadcasting from somewhere on planet Earth, the spaceship we all reside on. Jem from Gem and Collectibles, how you feeling?
I'm feeling great, and I think this might be my favorite video because it gives us an opportunity to showcase those one-off, mind-blowing sales that don't have enough sales to make the Hot 10.
Hit the like, slap the subscribe. If you comment, I want you to win this Omni-Man Invincible #1 that sits behind me at the list at number 10, found on the best comic app in the world. The runners-up list on Key Collector Comics. Use code TOM101 to support the show and get access to the list of 50 comics that broke records this week that we sourced 10 from to make our video. Number 10 on the list, Black Panther #8, debuting in 2009.
This is the first appearance of Annika, the lead trainer for the Dora Milaje. Now, we talked about this book on the trending list when it had a 600% increase in copies sold, but we got to talk about this 9.8 record-breaking sale.
That's right. This book got so hot, went nuclear after the Black Panther 2 Wakanda Forever trailer dropped, and we saw Michaela Cole portraying Annika in trailer. Well, a 9.8 hit at the end of that week. 600% increase in copies sold indeed, but the 9.8 didn't disappoint. Last selling in 2020 for $40, up 550%, now selling for $260. If a character is on the screen and you can get their first appearance for under $300 at a 9.8, seems like a great bet to me.
Yeah, that price still seems low to me. Moving on to number 9, Avengers 38 from 1967, a book that we talked about during the trending video at San Diego Comic-Con.
That's right, we have Hercules on the cover, the first battle between Hercules and Ares, but the first meeting of Hercules and the Avengers, and a 9.4. Prior record was set in April for $324, is up 131% this week. It's probably because he showed up in a post-credit scene. Now selling for $750, hot damn.
That's right, collectors have been hunting those books that have panels or scenes or first meetings that we may see in the MCU. Moving on to number 8, hold up, we got a counterfeit to discuss.
Cerebus #1, debuted in 1977, but there is a counterfeit known to exist, and it's quite popular. We have an 8.5 that sold. It literally says counterfeit on the CGC slab. Selling for $216 and an 8.5 back in 2019, up 213%, selling for $675. That's an increase of over $450 for a comic book that is popular because it's a fake comic book of a scarce comic that people beloved, an independent grail. I have to know your thoughts in the comment section, comic fam. And Jem, at what point does a comic book that is disgraced because it's counterfeit get so old that it goes full circle and becomes collectible?
Well, it happened to TMNT issue 1. That first printing was so scarce that they actually made counterfeits, which became collectibles as well.
Another great reason to utilize Key Collector Comics, if you click on the picture of the issue, you can swipe and see the indicators that gives you the information you need to know on whether you're dealing with a counterfeit or not. There is a part of the cover, I believe it's like part of the chainmail, that has more of a red outline around the black, and that is an indicator that you have a counterfeit. Outside of the fact that the cover is printed less vibrantly than the first print. Looking at number 7, we have Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars #1. The second printing, you can tell it's a second print by looking at that Spider-Man logo in the bottom right. If it's a black Spidey, it's a second print.
And we just talked about this on our last Hot 10 video. Here it is on the honorable mentions. We have a CGC 9.4 that broke record. It sold for just $114 back in May of this year, up 513%, selling for $699.
That's an increase of over $550 for this book in a 9.4. Now, when we look at the census, it may make this sale make a little more sense. There are only 8 copies graded of the second print in a 9.8, compared to 1,210 9.8 graded copies of the direct market first edition.
Moving on to number 6, we got some Stranger Danger with Phantom Stranger issue 14 from 1971.
Phantom Stranger over at DC. This is at a time where multiple writers and artists were drawing brand new swamp-like creatures. So this is a comic book that features a character similar to Swamp Thing that made its only appearance in this issue. And it was written by the creator of Swamp Thing, Len Wein. Well, when we look at the publication dates, we actually have to start with Savage Tales Magazine #1, which features Marvel's version of Swamp Thing, or the Swamp Thing version at Marvel, I digress, of Man-Thing. And then a month later, in House of Secrets 92, over at DC Comics, we would get the first appearance of Swamp Thing. Then a month later, that's when Phantom Stranger 14 debuts. A prototype that took place after the first two, but sometimes gets titled as the prototype of Swamp Thing.
That's a lot of swampy goodness. The CGC 9.4 broke records, selling for just $244 back in 2018. Here we are, 4 years later, 269% increase, selling for $900.
Hit the like, slap the subscribe button. It prevents you from getting swamp ass from watching this video. And at the listed number 5, we have Saga #1, the Diamond Retailer exclusive, limited to a lonely 500 copies, debuting in 2012, of one of the best comic books of all time and one of the highest grossing graphic novels at Image Comics.
This is the variant cover by Fiona Staples. A CGC 9.6 sold for a commanding $1,600 back in 2019. It's up 47% now, selling for $2,350.
An independent comic with a giant fan base that if anything happens, the slightest rumor, a buzz, it could be the most faintest of sounds, that this may hit the screen. This book is gonna go nuclear, which is why people have been investing in Saga for years without any option news.
I would be shocked if Saga didn't become some sort of animated series or a live action adaptation. Nonetheless, moving on to number 4, we got a Golden Age book here. Crime Suspense Stories, issue 19, with a graphic cover of drowning someone under the water. But more importantly, a story within that leads to the Comics Code Authority.
Debuting in 1953, a code was indeed needed for these types of tales that were jolting with tension. We have a 8.5 that sold for $905 back in 2019, up 99%. Now selling for $1,804. Hot damn, comic fan.
We might as well stick with the Golden Age while we're here. Number 3 on the list is Detective Comics, issue 230 from 1956, the first appearance of the second Mad Hatter, who's actually an imposter.
An imposter indeed, Jem, and it wouldn't be until Batman 700 that this villain would be renamed the Hat Man. We have a 7.0 going for $1,055 back in 2020. During the start of the comic boom, we have been warning the comic fam to be specking on those DC keys. So much attention in the Marvel Blue Chip Silver Age era, for good reason. Well, has this book gone down? Nope, an increase of 93%, selling for $2,040 for the first time in comic book history. Hot damn, comic fam. And if you want to join the community that supports our show directly, join the August Mystery Mail Call. ComicTom101.com to join, or link is in the description. Give me an excuse to send you comics every single month. We teamed up with Peach Momoko and kind of Chris Claremont. He wrote the book to get a 1 per box guarantee of Gambit #1. We have virgins going out at random, 1 per box, not both, through the powers of whatnot. Link in the description, and hit him with number 2, Jem, because they asked for more Batman keys, and I wanted to give it to him.
We're going to stick with DC and stay in the Golden Age with Batman issue 20 from 1943. It's the first cover appearance of the Batmobile.
And we have a 6.0 that's up over 2,500, last selling in 2016 for $1,350, up 196% this week, selling for $4,000 for the first time in comic history. Hit the like, slap the subscribe button. What do you think about these books? Which is your favorite? Do any of these books make you want to spec on something else? Help your fellow comic fan members. And if you like and subscribe, it'll enter you to win this Omni-Man cover of Invincible #1, a Whatnot variant done impeccably by great artist Tyler Kirkham. The #1 book on the list this week is some Frank Frazetta goodness. Nearly made the Hot 10, but Frank Frazetta covers are indeed scorching hot.
That's right. Number 1 on the list is Famous Funnies, issue 213 from 1965. Like Tom said, Frank Frazetta cover, and we have a 6.0 record breaker to discuss. It sold for $600 back in 2017. Here in 2022, it's up 1,900%, selling for $12,000.
That's a lot of green, and it didn't stop there, because although that features Buck Rogers on the cover and it is a glorious sci-fi cover, we got to show you some other Frazetta covers that landed on the runners-up this week. Vampirella magazine issue number 11, debuting in 1971. These are often overlooked because they are oversized, but they are tough as all hell to get in high grade. We have a 9.2, last recorded sale in 2004 for $128, up 213%, selling for $400.
We got to talk about Vampirella magazine issue 31 from 1974. Amazing cover here. That one in a 9.6 sold for $515 back in 2018, and it's up 94%, now selling for $1,000.
We appreciate your time today, comic fam. As always,
Geek responsibly and stay minty fresh.
Enough said. Comic fam, if we saw you at C2E2, I want to give a big thank you. I hope you had a great con. Hope you had a good hunt. And if you didn't join myself, Gem Mint, Jeff, the Golden Age Guru, Comic Pops, so many of our members from the Whatnot Wednesday squad, click the link in the description and join me on the best new app to buy and sell collectibles. It's called Whatnot. Dollar start auctions that last as little as 15 seconds long. We bring the exclusives. We bring the giveaways. We gave over $2,000 in comic books away this past weekend. Come join the fun and take a look at these 2 other books. Other books? Other videos. I'm losing my mind. We made those for you. Enjoy. Have a great week.